Welcome to my home studio. Today, what we're going to talk about is gesture drawing, and I'm going to discuss a little bit too of how it applies to character, especially when working in animation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So here is a really handy website called lineofaction.com. And this is a great resource to use for looking at live poses of actual people because, as mentioned before, animation is a reference of life. So it's always good to draw from life and get comfortable with different body shapes, different backgrounds, and understanding also how to quickly capture that. So gesture is basically rapid drawing where you're trying to not capture the detail of the person or the figure. It's more of capturing the weight of it or the way it feels, or just like the mass without focusing too much on contour. So this is a pose that I am going to use from Line of Action. And I'll be discussing Line of Action more in the next video, but just to give you an intro to what Line of Action is, it is the line that goes through the figure. And this can also be objects too. It doesn't have to be something that is alive. So in this, if I were to draw the line of action, it would probably look like something like this. So animation always moves in arcs. So it's good to think in arcs. Let's go ahead and begin sketching out this character or this person, and then we can turn them into a character. So here, what I want to do is I don't want to focus too much on the details, like I mentioned. I'm going to just go ahead and go in and get a line of action in there. And then I'm going to build my form because you don't want to worry too much or think too much about, the logical. You want to just capture what it feels like. This is how I would approach this figure here. And immediately you can already feel the form of it. You can sense the line of action in it, and without worrying too much about how it looks. So I could always go back in and start to, add little details to this. So, but it's really great to just fill a sketchbook up with different gestures and get a lot of variety in posing. So if I were to then, after filling up a couple pages or spending at least a half hour doing different gestures, and you're going to want to do them quick. So my recommendation would be doing them for 30 to 60 seconds, and you have to be comfortable with that because you got to fail faster so then you can correct it. It's not so much about the finished drawing. A lot of good drawing comes from good foundation or good architecture. That's just something to keep in mind. Don't worry about so much getting, a really finished piece. If I want to go in, then I could start to clean this up a little bit and turn it into a character. And that's just an example of how you could approach this. So let's do another one. All right. So let's draw through her and see the line of action. So you can see there's some nice curves. Some people also like to fill in this part. For me, I just like to see the one dominant line. And I think with that, it allows you to push that exaggeration, like I was talking about. So let's go ahead and let's get that line in. And don't feel like you have to do this digitally. I think for the sake of demoing, digital is really great, but I start on paper. You got to learn to be comfortable making mistakes and just developing a good muscle memory and workflow. And paper does that for you. Another thing too, just talking about gesture, is don't rely so much on your wrist movement. Be comfortable with moving your whole arm. You'll just get stronger lines and a really nice, like that rhythm in there that we were talking about. Nice curves and everything. It really does make a difference. it's just another example of, how you build gesture to be able to do character and make you, much faster in terms of drawing, because with animation, you have to do so many frames. And also drawing gestures, it's a great way to be able to go out and observe people in real life. Go to the mall, go to the library, go to a park, bring your sketchbook, bring your iPad, and try to capture them as quickly as possible. Try to capture that feeling, that movement, that rhythm that you're seeing in their posing. Even a soccer game is something great to check out. Now that you know what gesture is, here is an example of how it's applied to animation. I'm going to show you a short little clip and discuss a snippet of it and how that process worked using gesture. So here I have a clip of a character who is talking to her panda friend, which is the stuffed animal here on the table. So it has a little bit of dialogue, so I'll go ahead and play it so you can hear it.
Today is the beginning of the Lunar New Year. We celebrate the new year with big feet. Today.
So as an animator, usually when you have dialogue, you'll start with the body mechanics first before you jump into the lip sync. So that way you can worry about the physical acting rather than just worrying about matching that up. But you come back to that later. So a section I want to talk about was here at the end, where you can see it gets really loose, really rough. And this is where gesture applies to animation. So you want to be able to draw quickly because it's anywhere between 12 drawings to 24 drawings per second. So using something like gesture, which is rapid drawing, is a great way to capture the performance quickly, the thing that you're seeing in your head, and apply it to your paper or your digital canvas. So in here, I did these poses as quickly as possible because I could see it playing in my head, but I wanted to capture that. So keeping it loose and rough and doing gesture will make a huge impact on your animation itself. So for now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to actually start to do some gesture yourself. So what I would recommend is going out. You can go to the mall, you can go to school, wherever there's a lot of people, and then start to draw folks. And you want to be quick. You want to keep the drawing between 30 to 60 seconds. You don't want to be too attached to it. Again, it's about being quick and solving problems quickly, capturing the mass, the line of action, how the weight feels. And you want to be able to do that, as fast as possible, especially in a very rapid moving world. So I'm going to hide this and share with you. These are some gestures that I did using the website lineofaction.com. And you can see that it's just really quick scribbles, but it's capturing, that line of action that we were talking about. So we have this line of action, and you can actually kind of see it through the drawing. So it's good to start with line of action to capture that flow. And then, each one's going to feel a little different because it depends on the pose. And then you'll build your figure on top of that. So this here was probably about 10 minutes of drawing. I would recommend anywhere between 10 minutes to 30 minutes using that site, or if you go out into the world, that's great too. Maybe take a sketchbook with you. You never know when you're at a restaurant, where you might be waiting for your food or get bored or see something really cool that you want to capture. If you have a sketchbook handy, or even an iPad, if that's something that you prefer to use, just jot it down, get that gesture as quickly as possible, and you can always turn it into a character or an animation later. So I hope that is helpful, and I wish you the best of luck. I think you're going to be really excited with the results that you will gather from all of this, and these will be great things to put in your portfolio, especially if you're submitting to an art school. So keep going, keep drawing, get those pencil miles, and I wish you the best.